I'd like to know a little more about the custom peering that you talked about. Maybe just the scenario, the business scenario, more so than the technical scenario.
Sure. So if you don't mind, I'll use Microsoft as an example, right? So Microsoft obviously has a number of data centers, a network that some combination of owning and leasing, interconnecting those data centers. I'm already getting beyond what I actually know, so I'm guessing at this point. So that network that sits in between will be made up of a number of different providers, some small and some large. There may be things that would be beneficial for you to have and to control within that network that sits between those data centers that would benefit you, that may not benefit anybody else. So you may want to actually work out special capabilities of that network with those providers in order to improve your network between your data centers so that you don't have to go and own it and have to buy it and build it for yourself. Right? So as you start to do that, you can make the choice. You keep this proprietary and keep this as a secret between the two of you, or you actually enable others to do the same. Some will go that way, some will go the other way. But as you begin to do that, you will start to increase the boundary of that network, of where the standardized version exists, to be a little bit further out. Microsoft may not do this, but other companies may. Governments may choose to do this. There may be all sorts of different entities that might choose to do this. As this starts to happen, then we'll start to see these islands, these specialized islands form. I'm not going to argue that this is entirely a good thing. Some people will do it by mistake. Some people will create all sorts of problems by doing it. But in general, it will give those who have a genuine need to do it the opportunity to do so and improve their network in the process. And if they then make it available to others, which I hope if you do that you will, then we will all benefit from it over time. And so the question that I would then ask is, where do standards fit in that environment? They will have their place for those who don't have any interest in innovating, right? They have an interest in using something that is solid. But for those who want to, it'll provide a means to do so. And the standards, I think, will start to lag behind the innovation, which is entirely fine with me because I think that's where they belong.
Any other questions? We'll take one more.
Yes, so far what I've learned over here is that the interpretation of the use case for the open or software-defined networking seems to be pretty immense. But for a large carrier, a backbone infrastructure, for example, you have an embedded base of infrastructure and the policies and protocol which enables the services to run. I mean, do you envision, in short term, we can think of taking a deeper dive to see if SDN can fit into those infrastructure? And if so, you have limited resources in terms of the folks who are in the research community developing the RFCs, the alphabet soup, and the same folk are distracted or, for pleasant note, distracted to get something new. How does that ecosystem seem to work on that one?
There is an issue here that many companies that own some of the biggest networks in the world no longer have depth in software expertise, and because they're largely supplied by vendors who bring that expertise to them. But there's no reason why that won't continue. It's just rather than delivering somewhat fixed function products, that money will be used also to customize, because the environment will be much more open to customization either by the vendor themselves or by third-party suppliers. So in the end, of course, there needs to be money and investment behind it so that it has to be worthwhile. Where we've seen fairly significant interest is from small companies, from consulting companies who are interested in working with operators to be able to customize their networks for their needs. And so I think this is another way in which it will happen. So it doesn't have to come from the owner or operator themselves. We don't all have to turn into programmers.